Deep dives and blue skies. Welcome back to Talking Blue with Nick, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Talking Blue, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find. I'll be your host, Nick. Today, you're listening to episode 38. 38 episodes of Talking Blue. Today, we're going to recap, of course, the Dodgers and the White Sox series. Wrapped up last night. Recording it on Friday, 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to everyone out there. I hope you're out there listening to Talking Blue next to the grill, eating some hot dogs by the pool. Thank you guys so much. We're going to recap the White Sox series. It's going to be a little bit of a quick recap. I got to record twice today. I don't like to make my recap and my preview series in one video because it'll be too long. I'm going to record the Dodgers-Astros preview series. So today, Dodgers White Sox recap. A lot to talk about. We're going to kind of go over it quickly. As always, you can get this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media at Talkin' Blue Pod. You can follow myself at Talkin' Blue Nick. And subscribe and follow our Reddit at competitive-week8715. A lot of stuff coming out on TikTok. Getting a lot of likes on there, so thank you. I'm almost 700 followers. A lot of more people have been following me on X, so thank you. Follow the Talkin' Blue Pod _ on X as well. So let's waste no time. We're going to recap this series. So, of course, when it comes to the injury report, we already know, as most of you probably know what happened with Max Muncy, so we'll go over that after Game 2. Tyler Glasnow, yesterday, which was on Thursday, made what should be his last rehab start through 76 pitches. Fastball was sitting around 97. Shouldn't really look too much into results in rehab starts. So many, when guys go down there, they're focused on a lot of other things that sometimes they might give up some runs. Blake Snell threw to hitters the other day. Has continued to progress. He's going to continue to throw to more hitters, and probably should go on a rehab start in a few weeks. Same thing with Blake Trinan. He's probably a little bit behind Blake Snell, but expected return is possibly in July. Same thing as Blake Snell. Michael Kopech did go on the IL before this series. Right knee inflammation. Doesn't seem like it's too bad, but it's something that he's been nursing, and he was trying to pitch through, so he finally, I guess, spoke up. Roki Sasaki, they've said he's been playing good catch, intense catch. That's how it is worded. No timeline yet, but everything actually looks pretty good. Maybe Evan Sheehan gets recalled for the Astros series. So let's get into the first game. Kind of like last series, I'm not really going to run through the game itself. The Dodgers won first game of this series 6-1. Yamamoto pitched 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 8 strikeouts. Jack Dreyer went 1 and Anthony Bonda went 1. The Dodgers hit 7 hits, scored 6 runs, of course. Ohtani hit his 30th home run of the year. And then Will Smith also went deep in this game. Pages had 2 RBIs. Conforto actually had 2 RBIs. So what we're really going to talk about is Yamamoto. Like I said, 7 innings, 8 strikeouts. He looked really good. Pretty much dominated the White Sox. He had 10 whiffs in the game. He continues to pitch pretty good as of late. We've talked about in the month of June, he had an ERA over 4. A lot of that was a little earlier in the month, but he's the Dodgers ace, of course. Just wanted to highlight some of his numbers. So he actually did recently go over his innings. He went over his career innings total, because last year, his rookie year, he threw 90 innings. Coming into the start, he was at 89 2/3, so now he's at 96 2/3. So I thought it was kind of interesting. Yamamoto is 26 years old. He's in year 2 of the massive contract. So right now, if you look at his career numbers, in 176 2/3 career innings, he has 214 strikeouts with a 2.75 ERA and a 1.06 WHIP. I thought that was pretty interesting. 26 years old. He'll be 27 in August, so he's a very young guy. He's thrown just under 200 innings, and he's got an ERA under 3, 214 strikeouts. So he's the Dodgers ace, of course, like I just said. He's been great this whole entire first half. His ERA on the year is 2.51 in 96 innings. 96 and two-thirds innings. He's got 109 strikeouts, so one of the best strikeout pitchers in the game. Of course, his splitter is one of the better pitches in the game, as well as his four-seam fastball. He gets ground balls as good as anyone in baseball. His expected numbers are very good, really good expected ERA. His expected ERA is 2.83, expected batting average against of 2.15. Obviously, only one walk in this game. That's really nice because one of the only things you could kind of criticize Yamamoto this year is that his walk rate has gone up a little bit. But a lot of credit to Yamamoto. He actually was criticized a lot earlier in his career, coming over from Japan. Obviously, you give a guy $325 million who's never pitched in America. A lot of people are going to look at that sideways. And he pitched really good his first year. He's kind of like a hot topic because, ironically, his very first game, he went one inning and gave up like 5 runs. That was in Seoul, Korea last year against the Padres. So immediately people started to think, oh, God, he's overrated, stuff like that. I think it's what's interesting is that pitchers, when it comes to pitchers entering their prime, young pitchers, stuff like that, it's a little different than hitters. Obviously, position players, you want to be as good as they can as early as they can because it's a little bit harder to be as good later in your career. Usually for hitters, your prime is anywhere in your early 20s to about 30. And then if you could stretch that out into your early 30s, mid-30s, as good as possible, that's great. But usually around 30 is when your leg speed is going to go down, your bat speed is going to go down, stuff like that, maybe less power. Pitching is a little bit different. You can, as a pitcher, some pitchers don't actually hit their prime until 30. And there's so many pitchers nowadays. Obviously, Clayton Kershaw is still doing it. But guys like Scherzer and Verlander were still elite pitchers. They've fallen off a little bit as of late. But they were still elite pitchers. 2021, when the Dodgers traded for Scherzer, he was one of the best pitchers in the game. I believe he was 37 at the time. Justin Verlander won a Cy Young at 39. He had an incredible season. Chris Sale last year won the Cy Young. I think he was 35, 36. So there's a lot of pitchers. Garrett Cole is in his early to now almost mid-30s. He's injured now, but he won a Cy Young. He was probably 32, 33. So a lot of pitchers, you don't see too many pitchers who are in their early to mid-20s as one of the better pitchers in the game. Right now, one of the only young pitchers in the game, like really young, is Garrett Crochet of the Red Sox. I think he is like 26, 27, like Yamamoto. Even Tarek Skubal, who's one of the best pitchers in the game, I believe Tarek Skubal isn't, like a super young guy. Tarek Skubal, 28 years old. So pitching is a little different, and it's kind of a unique thing that the Dodgers signed Yamamoto. He's only 26, he'll be 27. What's interesting is that by the time he hits 30 years old, he'll have already pitched basically 5 seasons in the big leagues, and then could he get better into his 30s? Interesting. He's not too big of a guy, so always interested to see how that works. But I just thought that was pretty cool that Yamamoto, just under 200 innings pitched in his young career so far, has been pretty good. So we'll go ahead and go to Game 2, where there was this is where a lot of the juicy stuff is. So the game that Clayton Kershaw gets his 3,000 strikeout. He only had 3. He was down to 3 away to getting 3,000 coming into the start, so that was all the talk. I made a video about him on my TikTok. There was talk all day about him. It was like a shoo-in that he was going to get it. He did, of course, get it, but it almost looked like he did not get it. They won Game 2 by a score of 5-4. Freddie Freeman walked it off in the 9th. Clayton Kershaw goes 6 innings. Lou Trevino 1. Vesia 1. And then Will Klein, he got recalled for Kopech. He goes 1 inning. So the Dodgers came back. The White Sox had an early lead all game. They put up some runs against Kershaw early. Like I said, they went into the 9th inning. They were actually down 2 runs, needed a little bit of a comeback. Shohei Ohtani brought in 1 run on a fielder's choice, beat out a double play. Mookie Betts hit a sac fly to left field, and then Freddie Freeman walked it off with 2 outs. So they ended up walking off the White Sox. Like I said, win 5-4. So first, we'll talk about Kershaw, and then we'll go to the Muncy injury. So Kershaw, pretty cool stuff. Yeah, it's actually ironic. I said his previous start in Colorado, I think he went into that start 8 strikeouts shy of 3,000. He actually was pitching very well early on in the game, and then with only I think 70 something pitches, 78 pitches, they took him out. Clearly wanted him to get the strikeout at home, which I think I understand why they would do that. I just ironically was thinking to myself, be careful. 3 strikeouts. It's not crazy to think that he couldn't get 3 strikeouts. Then you have to go to Milwaukee. So I was thinking they could have let him try to get another 1 or 2 strikeouts. So you come into LA against the White Sox only needing 1 or 2 strikeouts just to make it a little easier. But maybe Dave Roberts wanted to build up the drama. So of course, ironically, the White Sox were one of the worst strikeout teams. They were putting balls in play all game. It was crazy. Kershaw got to 2 strikes on a lot of hitters before he even got 1 strikeout, and the White Sox just kept putting the ball in play. So clearly they just did not. Nobody wanted to be part of history. But ultimately, Kershaw ends up getting it. Shout out to Dave Roberts. He sent Kershaw back out there in the 6th inning with, I think, 92 pitches, needing just 1 more strikeout. He ended up getting it with 2 outs, so he was able to walk off the mound, get a standing ovation. Again, it was a little weird because it just happened after the Muncy injury, which will talk about in a sec. But really cool stuff from Kershaw. He's, like I've said before, I think he's the greatest pitcher of this generation. Now, the last few years, ever since like 2020, 2022, him kind of the injuries really piling up. Ever since he's been an older pitcher, he's dealt with injuries. But he has kind of been really hindered by the injuries where he hasn't pitched a full season in a really long time. Because of that, it's kind of slowed down his process to get to 3,000. If you remember when the Dodgers had Scherzer for that half year, he actually got his 3,000 strikeout in a Dodgers uniform. That was in 2021, which was 4 years ago. And then I believe Justin Verlander got 3,000 back in maybe 2022 or 2020. Maybe it was even 2019. It was a while ago. So the reason Kershaw got 3,000 so much later after those guys is because he's been injured. So maybe that affects people when they talk about the greatest pitcher. It's definitely between those 3 guys. So maybe because of the way Kershaw's kind of finished out his career, you pick Verlander over him. But when you look at like all-time run prevention numbers, Kershaw is the best pitcher of all time. I put this out on my X. From 1930 to 2025, 1930 to 2025, that's when Babe Ruth played. 1930, 2025, minimum of 2,000 innings. Clayton Kershaw has the lowest ERA of all time. Let me say that again. 1930 to 2025. So I guess that's 95 years. Minimum 2,000 innings. Clayton Kershaw has the lowest ERA of all time. Not one pitcher is better than him. He's not in the top 10, not just in the top 5. He is one all time. The greatest pitcher of all time when it comes to run prevention. He has one of the best resumes of all time. You just look at his career every year, he just had an ERA in the twos, ERA in the twos, or ERA in the twos. It's led to, I think, a career ERA of 2.51, I want to say. So he's definitely one of the 10 greatest pitchers of all time. One of the best left-handed pitchers of all time. It's kind of ironic because the Dodgers in their history have such a rich history of left-handed pitchers between him, Koufax, and Fernando Valenzuela. So really cool stuff. I've talked about it before. It's really cool for me. I saw Kershaw my whole younger self. The 2010s was his generation. That was my generation of watching baseball growing up. So it's cool. We're going to see him retire someday soon. We'll see if it's this year, but really cool stuff. Again, he didn't necessarily pitch too great in this game, but that's not really important. He went 6 innings, did give up 9 hits, 4 earned runs. There was 1 homer he gave up. He needed the 3 strikeouts. He got the 3 strikeouts. And he did it on 100 pitches, so it's kind of, he didn't have to, go anything crazy, 120 pitches, which they wouldn't have never done anyways, but shout out to Kershaw. So really the main story in this game and in the series was Max Muncy to me. It's kind of funny. I don't want to say it ruined the Kershaw moment, but it literally happened right before Kershaw got the 3,000 strikeout. Everybody was so excited for Kershaw, but the 4th, 5th inning rolls around and he still hasn't finished off the job of just getting 3 strikeouts. And so, of course, there's a runner on second base. Michael Taylor attempts to steal third. Muncy goes to cover the bag. Great play by Will Smith. Muncy tags him out. but the runner is sliding head first. The top of his helmet collides with Max Muncy's left leg, and then if everyone's seen the replay, he kind of pushed his leg inwards, one of those awkward, kind of uncomfortable to watch plays. He then kind of flipped over, landed on his other knee. So in real time, when the collision happens, he kind of flips over, lands on his knee. I thought the leg he injured was his right leg, the one that he fell on. Later on, because they didn't show the replay in real time on TV. Later on, when I did see the replay, I realized it was the other leg that he was holding, and it was because the helmet collided with his left leg when he was still standing up. He comes out of the game. Everyone is immediately on X was saying he's done for the season. It looks like it's an ACL, something like that. No shot. He's coming back. I'll be honest. I obviously I can't attest because I have nothing recorded. I was watching the game with my girlfriend right here, and I actually was saying everyone is freaking out. I didn't think it was too crazy. Now I knew that he was going to have an injury and go on the IL, but I thought what would happen was kind of what did happen. Now maybe it was me being maybe I was just holding out and hoping that this would happen. But when I saw it, the fact that he was in pain, a lot of times players, when they get hurt, especially something scary like that, when you gotta get knocked off your feet, it's around your knees, kind of like those knees, elbows for a pitcher, maybe your head or your neck if you're hitting, something like that. Your hands, nobody likes to get hit on the hands like Mookie did last year and break a small bone in your hand. When something like that happens, they kind of get, rightfully so, like kind of freaked out right away. So Max gets hit, falls over, lands. He's immediately holding his knee in pain. You could tell he relaxed a little bit. He got up. Didn't look like he was in a crazy amount of pain. I know they carried him off the field. He was helped to get off the field. But I don't know. I could just tell that it didn't look too. I didn't think it was season ending. I really thought he did something to his knee, but I don't think it's too bad. So of course the next day it comes out. It is a left knee bruise. Left knee bruise. So if you look that up, it explains that it can take anywhere from a month to 2 months. Muncy himself said it would be about 6 weeks. It could be a little bit before 6 weeks, a little bit after 6 weeks. The positive at the end of the day is that he will be back in this season. That's a positive. You see something that crazy and that the way as bad as it looked, and you think it could be season ending for sure. Who knows? Muncy's not necessarily a young guy, so who knows how it would have affected his career. I saw him in the clubhouse. I saw the whole 6-minute interview he kind of did, answering a lot of questions. He kept saying, the good thing is I'll be back this year. It could be hurt. It could be earlier. He said he's a pretty fast healer. So we'll see how the timeline goes and all that. The positive thing, he'll be back this year. The Dodgers can take their time with him. They can just let Kike Hernandez, Miguel Rojas, maybe even Tommy Edman, like they said, play third. They can kind of just run a few guys around there. Muncy, 6 weeks from now, would put him at about exactly mid-August, August 15th, something like that. If he comes back a little earlier, great. If he comes back a little bit later on in August, closer to September 1st, he'll have a whole month to get ready to play for October, and then he should be ready to go. So at the end of the day, with where we're at in the season, with how bad the injury was, or how bad it looked, and what ultimately the injury ended up being, it's a huge win for the Dodgers. He'll be back this year and should be okay. So it was really scary to see. Nothing is worse than seeing a guy go down, ultimately, and right away grab something. The same thing happened with Muncy in 2021 on the last day of the season. Immediately got hit, started to hold his arm. When Mookie last year got hit in the hand and fell down and immediately grabs your hand, you immediately know that it's pretty scary. So the last game in the series to complete the sweep, Dustin May. So we'll go through that really quick. Dodgers win this game 6-2. So Dustin May goes 7, Tanner Scott goes 1, and then Kirby Yates goes 1. So the Dodgers offense, again, really quickly. Mookie Betts did homer in this game. which is really good. Pull side homer. I believe it was off a lefty breaking ball. Actually hit it pretty well. So he goes deep in this game. Freddie Freeman had 2 hits, was also robbed of a home run by Mike Tauchman. So Freddie's looking a lot better. Teoscar had a hit. It was his 1,000th career hit, so congratulations to him. And then Michael Conforto, he went deep to right field, up and in fastball that he turned on. Tommy Edman, Dalton Rushing had hits. So Dodgers offense, 2 walks, 7 hits. Like I said, obviously 6 home runs. A lot of that on the home runs that they hit. So offense did what they needed to do in this series. But really the story of the game was Dustin May. Dustin May goes 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, which was on 1 home run, a 2-run homer, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. Probably the best game of the year for him. He had 1 game earlier in the year against the Colorado Rockies that was really good as well. It was shaping up to be his best game. He actually had a no-hitter through, I think, 5 innings. And then he got 1 out in the 6th and then let up a hit. So the good thing about Dustin May is he was pounding the strike zone. Because if he actually would have continued a no-hitter, his pitch count was in a perfect spot where he could have gotten to the 9th inning and he would have had like 90 pitches or something like that. So he was pounding the zone with strikes, but he was also getting strikeouts in the game. He had 10 whiffs, like I said, 9 strikeouts. 4-seam fastball continues to be really dominant for him. He had 6 of those 10 whiffs were on his 4-seamer. So it's kind of funny. Earlier in the game, Oral Hershiser, when he was talking, he said that he believes Dustin May should incorporate more 4-seamers, and I think he will, and that's actually what happened. So I wonder if Oral Hershiser talked to someone before the game and kind of knew. He threw 18 4-seam fastballs, 21%. So what's also noticeable is that in this game, Dustin May's velocity was up. His 2-seamer sits around 94, 95. The 4-seamer sits around 95. In this game, the sinker averaged 95.7, and then the 4-seamer averaged 96.8. He actually maxed out on the sinker at 98.1 and then the 4-seamer at 98.7, which he did a couple times, and on TV that gets rounded up to 99. So he was up to 99 in this game multiple times. So the fastball was looking electric. Of course, he's got the very good sweeper with a lot of break. That usually gets some ugly swings out of hitters. And then the 4-seamer is really dominant. When he gets it up in the zone, it's kind of unhittable. So really good stuff from Dustin May. He's got his ERA down to 4.52. He's pretty good when it comes to getting ground balls. So we'll see where this goes. Maybe he found something. You could really tell on the mound. He was looking really confident and relaxed. His his mechanics were really under control. Pounding the strike zone, like I said. Of course, it was against the White Sox, so, they're one of the worst teams in baseball. But at the end of the day, got to give him credit. He kept the ball in the ballpark, except for the 1 home run. He pounded the strike zone, which is really key because Dustin May has a tendency to not throw strikes because he's got so many pitches that are moving all over the place. But the stuff was up a little bit. It's nice to see that he can kind of still run it up there. Like I said, I kind of believe that he still has a lot of the electric stuff. Maybe not before he got hurt, where he would literally sit like 99 to 100. But if he wanted to sit more 96 to 97 and regularly see 98, 99, he probably could. But he's dialed that back, so we'll see where this goes. Hopefully Dustin May has found something. This was probably, like I said, the best game of his season. Definitely the best he's looked like. Physically in control, he seemed to be really in control, but really good stuff. So that's gonna pretty much wrap up. Like I said, pretty quick episode. Dodgers get the sweep of the White Sox. They will now welcome in the Houston Astros. Yes, we love the Astros as Dodger fans, don't we? The Houston Astros come in. They've been playing really well. I think they just actually lost their last game to the Rockies, but they've been playing very well. One of the better teams in the American League. They do have some injuries, though, so I'm going to preview that series, so stay tuned for that. So Dodgers get the sweep over the White Sox. What's really nice is that the last week, 2 weeks, they played the Rockies and the White Sox, and one thing I said was sweep them, sweep both of them, sweep the Rockies, sweep the White Sox. Don't let me come on here talk about how they won the series. Let's talk about a sweep. They did both of those things, swept both of those teams. I think I put this out on my X. In the last 23 games, Dodgers are 18-5. So really, ever since the Dodgers lost 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals in the very beginning of June, they've turned it on and played very well. They've been fortunate to play the White Sox and the Rockies. Now they're going to play the Astros. We're going to preview that series. So thank you guys for listening. As always, you can get this podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media at Talking Blue Pod. Follow myself at Talking Blue Nick. Follow us on Reddit at competitive-week8715. We will see you guys. Dodgers Astros preview.